This is our second live stream from the Hong Kong Factory Cafe. We've changed some things. One of the things that we're going to need to change in a few minutes is that is going to display the tablet display from the Espresso machine right there. So we've got three things that are interesting to talk about today. So the first, Mark, who's my assistant programmer, has been working on apps for our upcoming scale. This is the half-decent scale. However, the apps that you've got also work on the full-height scale that thousands of you have already purchased. And we're going to show three apps from that. I've been programming a other scale-related feature that allows you to fiddle with the cup while the espresso has actually started, and we'll talk about that. Then from the comments last week, we got requests to do more dialing in, to do more about charts, and we're going to dial in a Rayo allongé, and it's something I showed you yesterday, and you're going to help me with that.
No problem.
And then we're going to take whatever questions, and that'll be a wrap for this week. All right, great. So, so I'll just do a little bit of explanation as to what Mark is going to demonstrate. We wanted to continue the openness of the scale. So this is a first project called the Decent Open Scale. And the firmware is open source, the source code is open source, and the chassis is open source. Everything's on our GitHub and licensed under a GPL license. And I wanted to kind of continue that open sourceness and give people apps that had really clear source code, but that did functional things that were useful. So the two of us looked at a bunch of technologies. I mostly assigned things for you to look at. We wanted an app that would work on a phone and also on a computer, ideally both iPhone and Android, but also Macs and Windows. We looked at some various cross-platform stuff.
At one point, we tried to compile Python into an Android package. That didn't go so well.
So it worked fine. Python worked fine on the desktop, but as soon as you went, and I think you had trouble also with Python on iOS.
Yes.
We soon got into technology hell, so stuff that was supposed to work didn't really work. So we looked at cross-platform frameworks. But a real key for me in terms of open sourceness is people need to be able to work on an open source app in an evening. If you look at most contributions to open source on Wikipedia or in apps, it's in an evening. So it had to be simple. So in the end, talk about what we did.
So in the end, we realized there's a feature on Chrome browser that allows user to talk to any device using Bluetooth. So that actually solved a lot of our problems. So it's going to be applicable on different platforms, on your laptop, on your phone, on your tablet. And the second thing is that it's fairly easy to just whip out the HTML with JavaScript in the backend, and that can control or give any kind of command to your half-decent scale. So that's exactly what we're going to show today. So there are three different apps that's built on this technology that's going to help you in different kinds of scenarios, not only in coffee shops, but also in other kinds of user situation.
Because it's built on Chrome, at the moment, it will run on places where Chrome really fully runs, which is to say Mac and Windows, Linux if you compile the Bluetooth feature in, and Android. The Bluetooth feature doesn't work on Chrome on iOS. However, we have added serial port support to this and also Wi-Fi support. Now, the Wi-Fi support is the more interesting one because with Wi-Fi support, Chrome on iOS devices will be able to use apps. Now, we haven't programmed that yet. We don't yet have the Wi-Fi support on the scale. We're currently in beta and adding. We have just last week added serial port support, but we wanted to get the apps working with Bluetooth. Okay, so let's get, if we can, get the tablet onto the screen. Before you tap anything, I want to show people where you are. So this is logged into me, my account, and what you'll see is a new button here. It says Decent Scale. So the nice thing about the Chrome apps is that you don't have to install anything. You just go into tech support. So you click your name when you go to our website, support, And if you own a scale, the decent scale button's there. So go ahead and press that.
So this is what you're going to see after you press it. So there will be 5 different options. So the first 3, that's going to be the apps that we're going to demo.
Come on, Wi-Fi. Live demos.
It's loading.
There it goes. Okay.
Yes. So the first 3 are the apps that we're going to show today. And yes. And the 4th one is the quick start guide. That's basically what we mentioned about all the open source documentation. You can just search on our website, you will see it. So you got all the source code and all the helpful stuff for you. And the last one is Decent Scale Forum. That's on our Basecamp. So a lot of people is sharing what they have done before. So that's also a very good source of inspiration.
So let's go ahead and pull up webweigh and stay with that here. You want to explain what this does and what you have to type in?
So this is a very simple weigh and save. So that's basically so the main 3 things that we're going to take a look is timer, weight, and rate change. So timer is basically just whenever the user clicks start, it's going to count indefinitely until he hits stop again. And the weight that shows you live weight from half decent scale. And rate change, right now it takes the interval. So maybe you want the scale to take readings every 5 seconds or every 1 second. And that rate change is going to help you calculate that.
So let me get, I need a bag of coffee. So why don't you go ahead and connect to the scale and I'll get some coffee beans.
Yep. So what I'm doing right now is to use the Chrome-based Bluetooth Q&A box to find and select the decent scale. Usually it's pretty responsive.
Is the scale on?
Yeah, it's connected, but the screen is slow. Yes, now we're connected. Yes. Okay. So now we're connected, as you can see on the top right corner. So I'm going to put my finger on the scale. You'll see the number in the middle is actually changing. You see it very quickly. Yes. And right now I'm going to set the interval to be 2 seconds. And once John comes back, I'm going to we're going to start again. Yes. So right now I have set the interval to be 2 seconds and it's ready to start.
Let's give you that.
Yes. So right now we just put the milk jug on the scale and then I'm going to hit 0. So that brings everything back to 0 and then we can start dosing more beans. First you need to click
you do have to hit the start button.
Yes.
And you want to scroll up so you can see the history?
Yeah. It's going to show soon. It's just the delay, that's why.
Yeah, it's the casting delay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you'll see, so there's a every 2 second history that's going to print right below. And then once you're done, you can just hit stop. And then you can decide, okay, maybe I want to export to JSON, for example. Click that, and it's going to ask you to download. Click open, and that's everything. So it shows you when your dosing starts and when it stopped and what the weight so far. Yes.
So let's go back to the previous page. This is obviously the simplest app. We wanted to start with something really simple. But we can add things quite quickly. So we were just working on a way of making tea with filter 3 baskets with a slower flow rate. And I wanted a way to measure flow rate quickly. So he added this. So this is the flow rate as he's adding to the weight. And the flow rate is also being displayed here. So every 5 seconds it's displaying how what the total weight is and what the flow rate is. Okay. Let's go ahead and show the next one.
Yep. So let's go back. So the next one is what we call as quality control app. So it should go live soon on the page. So the scenario that we're thinking is that there's a lot of chances that you want to wait if the same thing weighs the same. Maybe it's the cup, maybe it's maybe your
18-gram doses. So
doses,
you've got an employee who's pre-weighed a whole bunch of beans in your cafe, and you want to check and see how accurate they were.
Yes. So this is going to be exactly for that scenario. So right now it's connecting. Yes. So here we are connected, and in this page you can save a lot of different presets. So for example, this is the one that's for tipsy cups. So you can see there's a go weight, low and high, and minimum weight. So right now, once everything is set up, you can start the QC mode and then start putting on the cup just like this. And then it's going to give you guidance to remove the object. And then same thing, the history will print in this lower part of the page. Yes.
So unfortunately, there's a lag on the tablet. So each one of these live streams we do, we're going to learn something, and we can see there's about a 5-second lag on this. So what you're not seeing, but now it's caught up, is he's quickly putting an object on. It stabilizes the weight, it registers it, and moves on to the next. And what it's doing for each one is saying the total weight, 189 grams, pass, 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 pass. Right? Mm-hmm. And if one of these cups is not the right weight,
for example,
yeah, a milk jug, for example, and now if you lift that, and it should then pop up and tell us. So I think it didn't count it because your minimum weight is 150. And what that means is no object under 150 is counted. So that's to avoid things being false.
Yeah, so then you'll see fail. Yeah.
So here we go at various fails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there's lots of situations where you need to weigh a lot of similar objects quickly and then be told. And one thing I really like at this is the CSV output. It's not yet working, so we're not going to demo the CSV. But our QC folks who go to factories who then will test literally 1,000 cups can make a spreadsheet, and then there it is. There's no arguing. That's the weight of every cup that we just did. Same thing with 18-gram doses. You can see if you're screwing up or some of your employees are not being very accurate. Mm-hmm. So this is really fast. And I thought this was a useful thing we needed. So let's go to the next one.
Yep. So the last one is called dosing assistant. So same thing, I'm going to connect to the scale again. So this is more thinking like you're going to dose 18 grams of coffee. Maybe you're running a coffee shop and you want to pre-dose 18 grams right before the busy people shows up. So the same thing, you connect the scale and then you can type in your target weight, and there's a minimum and maximum weight setting for you.
So just to put this, again, what this means is we're trying to make 18-gram doses. Mm-hmm. We'll move on if the weight is between 17 and 19.
Yeah.
So we're allowing that. If it's less than that, we're still going to ask you to do more. Obviously, those are very rough, and in third wave coffee, that wouldn't be allowed.
But of course, you can type everything in the same number. Yeah. So I'm going to zero the thing, and I'm going to start the process. So first thing is going to ask you to set container weight. Mm-hmm. Once you've done that, and then you can start.
So the reason the container weight is asked is because it's really common to dose and then remove the container and then put it back. That's the usual thing that we're going to do. Curious to see, if we do the side angle, can folks see what people are doing? Yeah, so you can see them do it. So let's do a couple weight doses.
Mm-hmm. So right now, what you see is that I use a different container. So that means you need to set container weight.
Oh, you've just changed to a cup.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that means you just need to set container weight again. Yeah. And then now we can start dosing again. So we can,
Okay, and let's go back to the main, yeah.
yeah. So right now it's telling me, okay, that one is correct, and then move on to the second one. And then you can set more beans into the second card. And then sometimes it will start here, put it on.
Cool. So part of the fun and thrill of these live streams is we're showing you work literally that was done yesterday. And during the demo, I found some ways to break his app. Let's say it's 90% there. But I thought this would be just super helpful, even for individuals, anyone who's got to just weigh out a bunch of 18-gram doses. It tells you how much to add, tells you how close you were, so 17.3, 79, 18.6. And it's totally free. You can view the source if you want and look at the JavaScript. And naturally, because these are up now, they all use the same library. It's fairly straightforward for us to add new apps. Something I love about the Chrome apps is nothing to install. You just go to a website, and they're there.
And later on, we're going to add some more Wi-Fi connectivity. Yep. So that's all from.
Okay. The person's asking, what's the latency like for the scale data to appear on the browser? Usually about a second.
Yeah, this is about 1 second.
Yeah, we've got we're Chromecasting from there to there, and it's just taking.
If you see this real life, in real life, it's actually very quick.
Yeah.
From the tablet to getting the readings from the weight.
We have gone to. You want to see if you can bring the casting back?
Okay.
Looks like we lost the Google Cast.
Okay.
We're looking at artwork.
Trying. Wait. Yes. Now we're back.
Casting has
Yes.
ended. I like how it says it's ended, but actually it's working. Okay. That's the app. There's I don't know, 2-3 days more of bug fixing. Here, come back in the camera.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 or 3 more days of bug fixing.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But you're already, I don't know, halfway through the thing that's going to control grinders. And maybe in a week, maybe 2 weeks, we can demo
yes.
that.
Yes, hopefully. Yes.
So that's going to be using this scale or or our normal full height scale to turn a grinder off with a smart power switch.
Yep. So we're going to apply that design into our niche, so it can turn niche into a grind to weight grinders like all other kinds of models.
Yep.
Yes.
And we also have an auger that's a bean feeder.
Yes.
And
yes.
so that will give you, for example, 18-gram doses for you. So instead of a human being having to pour, this
Just like
big
what I
corkscrew,
did.
yeah, this corkscrew will do it. And we're going to keep cranking that out. One of the apps I don't think you've started on yet, but we found a database of cocktails.
Yes.
The
yes.
Please Don't
yes.
Tell bartender guide as a Google Sheet. And there's an app to write to guide you through cocktail making.
Yep.
Again, going to be totally open source. Okay. I think this one I can handle on my own, and then the next one, when we're making the allongé, we'll do together.
Perfect.
Okay? All right. So the thing I want to demonstrate now is just a feature I added in the last 2 days. There's 2 actually related features, and they come out of DECon. There was a visitor from Thailand who came, and they said, the scale's great, but we don't use it in the cafe. And I said, why? And they said, because it's not reliable. I said, okay, what does that mean? I said, is it because people fiddle with the cup once the shot started? He said, yes. So until yesterday, that's been a huge problem. And I suspect it's a problem for everybody who's got scales, so the commercial machines with scales, which is you put a cup, you start espresso, and then you go, oh no, the espresso is dripping off the cup. So then you go and you bump the cup into the right place, which bumps the scale, which turns the shot off because it's now hit its goal weight because you're fiddling with it. And then there's a related problem, which is you hit start and you go, whoops, I forgot to put the cup there. You put the cup there, the cup weighs way more than an espresso, the shot stops right away. And you've seen us do that sort of mistake in live stuff. I'm sure if you use a scale, you do. So there's two changes I've made that are in the nightly version of the DE1 app that fix that problem. So the first one, which seems to work really well, we discussed it on diaspora, is the scale weight is ignored. There's no stop on weight if you're in pre-infusion. And so in things like Londinium or adaptive, any of the default profiles that have a pre-infusion stage, if you put the cup in and you see dripping, you can now move the cup. Actually, Mark, I'm going to have you make me an 18-gram dose. Mm-hmm. And because we're going to demo it, if you could prepare a puck with an 18-gram dose and switch that back to adaptive, and then just get all ready to pull a shot. Mm-hmm. So you can now put the you put the cup in, you hit start, you see it dripping, it's missing the cup, you can fiddle with it. You're going to see your scale weight jump all over the place, but the shot will not stop. So that's a huge quality of life improvement. But there's one other case I wanted to handle, and that's where you just forgot to put the cup completely there. And give you a little bit of time. Now, once espresso starts dripping, I can't help you there, because we do need to track the weight of espresso dripping on the cup. But what I added yesterday is a feature where a profile can be told to tear at some certain point. So, for example, about 5 seconds into adaptive or a Londinium shot, it's put a whole bunch of water onto the puck, and then it tears, because there shouldn't be any dripping in that first 5 seconds. So what that means is if you hit the start button, you have the time until the water starts the machine, plus about 5 seconds to get the cup under the portafilter. And if you manage, go ahead and grind, it's fine. Let's just see. Let's see if we have update available. So it's not going to work unless we get the update. But you can start. So once the update has come in, mm-hmm. So it occurred to me that I hadn't updated that tablet, so the feature is not going to work unless I have the update. And 4 have been updated. Because this feature is brand new, for the time being, I have only modified the adaptive profile, which is a profile I wrote, so I feel like I can screw it up. And but I did test this morning on Londinium, and it worked great. Londinium's got a 2-second fill stage. And so what it means is if this feature works, get everything ready, get the cup ready, and then we'll do a shot. If this feature does seem to work, then I'll go ahead and modify all the profiles I can to do this. Now, to support this feature, it's super simple. The word tear has to be in the message field of the step you want to tear in. So in Londinium, there's a step called fill, and there's a pre-fill and a fill. You put in the fill the word tear, and the scale will tear as it goes to that step. So it means that any weight that accumulated until that step is now zeroed out. Since that could only be a cup, it should not affect anything except people who forgot to put the cup there. So you're ready to go. Can we get the, no, you know what, let's leave it on this, and because what we should see is me fiddling. So go ahead and start.
Okay.
And so the shot has not yet started, okay? In fact, I could, like I just did, lift. And now I'm going to be a naughty boy, and I am tapping the scale, okay? I'm tapping the cup on the scale, and you can see all sorts of weight perturbations that happen because I was fiddling with the cup. And what's interesting is even the weight here of grams wasn't wrong, because there it was, and by the time pre-infusion ended, which was right here, the dripping ended. So I was allowed through this entire stage to fiddle because there's no way that dripping, which is this stage here, should be enough for an entire espresso. So at this point, this is the weight, and you can see since I stopped moving the cup, the weight moved up nice and well, and we hit our final goal weight. 32 grams is the goal. We end up with 33. So what I like about this feature is you don't have to do anything. It's just if you have a scale, things will work better now, and you don't have anything to modify. If you do want your profiles to allow you to put the cup afterwards, and can you make me one more shot? I'm going to pick up the coffee here. Okay. Now, while Mark is preparing that, I'm just going to quickly talk about these curves, because the curves, can people hear me when the grinder's on? Okay, great. This is a adaptive, it says per hour tuned, but it's basically just adaptive. The portafilter gets filled with water, the group head rather gets filled with water here, and then there's a dripping stage, okay, where the pressure is held, and then the pressure goes up. Now this shot I can see is dialed in, and the reason I can see it's dialed in is that we went up to pressure, and then we start to decline in pressure. And that's what you're looking for. If you're too finely ground, then you're not going to decline in pressure. This max pressure is just going to continue. And if you're too coarsely ground, you'll not have risen to something around 9 bar. There's one other piece of information from this chart that's useful, is we have both a niche and a 98 mil flat super high-end grinder, so don't start yet. And you can see the pressure decrease and then increase again. And what that is the niche has a lot of fines in the coffee grounds. And the fines will cause the pressure to go back up as the shot comes out. Okay. And this all looks good. So what I want to do here, let's go to the side camera so you can see the espresso. What I want to do is cheat. I want to hit start. Let's see if it works. This is a live demo, folks. Okay. Okay. So you can see what happened. It didn't work. Damn. Let's see if I know why it didn't work. So it didn't work because we're not using adaptive here. We're using a tuned version of adaptive. So I'm going to have you make another one. But we're going to modify the profile. So here under the word fill, I'm going to put the word tear. Okay. And there it is. So what that means is that when we hit the fill point, we're going to tear. So this is as good a demo as any. What happened is we didn't use the profile that the new app updated. We used a custom profile, which naturally didn't have the tear command. So go ahead and hit OK. Let's try another shot. So what's cool is what just happened is exactly what you don't want to have happen, which is you start the espresso. Go ahead and you can just bin that.
Okay.
So another 18 grams. Mm-hmm. And let's do it on the FM grinder. This should be dialed in. So I forgot to put a cup when I hit start. And so the weight included the cup, 185 grams, and the espresso stopped right away. And anybody who's got a scale, who's trying to make espresso in the morning, that is something that's going to happen to you because none of us are at our best before we've had our morning coffee. The other thing I've asked Mark to do is he's going to use the FM grinder, which has these high uniformity burrs, and we'll see less fines with this, and the curve will be a little different. Now, it does occur to me that we did just change the burrs 2-3 days ago, and these new burrs have a lot more fines in them. So the curve will be different, but they will not be what SSP high uniformity burrs were giving us. Those burrs were really giving us virtually no. Yeah, go ahead and give a little. So he did a little spray, which is RDT, and pretty much every single large burr grinder needs you to do that. So we're also going to use the bellows because quite a bit of fines come out, and yeah, let's see if I don't know if you can see from the side. Can you bring that over right here? Can we do the top camera? So you see how there's a lot of fines here? You can take it away. Go ahead and do the prep on that. I also have Weber's grinder, which is now, I'm blanking on the name, but the one that looks like an electron microscope, and it has the same effect, which is to say a spray of fines. That is just what happens on any grinder that tries to be low retention and uses large burrs. I have to explain why, because if you want low retention, you need to have very little blocking the path of ground coffee before it hits the portafilter. And if that happens, you're going to have high-speed coffee firing at your portafilter. The only way to slow down the grinds is to put something in the way. All right, so don't put a cup, but get a cup ready. Let's get that side camera, and let's demo. I'm going to wait till. So I think you're in the camera view right now. Yay! It teared. Okay, so I added it late. You can see 0. I added it really at the last minute. See the weight right here? It was massive, but I got it just in time to tear and bring it back to 0. And so that shot was saved, even though I put the cup in, I don't know, like 5 seconds after I hit the start button. I can't promise this will work, that you can put the cup any damn time you want, but it seems like a very useful feature. Okay, and one thing we're seeing now is that was 18 grams, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, so either Mark's puck prep is better than we're used to, not by you, but I mean by everybody, or we're grinding too fine. And I'd say we're just grinding too fine. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to adaptive, you can see we are at max pressure this whole time, and we did not manage to get actually much coffee out. So with adaptive profile, you really don't want to be sitting at maximum pressure. You want the pressure to decrease. All right. I don't know. Let's see if people want to do allongé. Wait a second. Will the tear within profiles be available in advanced editor? Yes, that's what I just did. So that was the advanced editor that I was in, looking at the adaptive profile. There's a field that says message. You just put the word tear in there. If you visit the factory tour as an owner, even not an owner, anyone who comes to the factory is welcome to get a tour. There's absolutely no problem there. So interesting idea, which is to say don't track weight until a specific step. So you can do that already. The way the ignore, the first feature I described. Can we, yeah, we got this up. See where it says track water volume? The way the new feature works that doesn't stop by weight is it doesn't stop by weight until this step occurs. And that's another way of saying pre-infusion. So let's say you've got an espresso that's got 5 steps, and you just do not want the espresso to ever stop by weight until step 4 has happened. Just go ahead and change that. So this is, I think, now not that well worded. What it actually means is pre-infusion ends after step 3. And the new feature is saying don't stop the shot until pre-infusion ends. So if you've got an espresso style that you don't want to stop until some certain steps happen, just say all that stuff is pre-infusion. All right, someone's saying, when I do filters free with my Acaia, they have problems. Take it up with Acaia. Sorry, Acaia is not an open source scale. Acaia has been reverse engineered by members of our community to work. However, they change their firmware. They actively dissuade people from integrating their apps. They sent lawyers after to call one of our members of our community to threaten them. And she replied that what she was doing was legal in her country. And so they went away. I'm okay because I believe in freedom and choice to allow members of the community to support other scales. However, I'm not going to. So if open source people want to support Acaia, you are welcome to. If there are problems with it, it's for the open source people to support it. Frankly, Acaia has made their incentives, their ideas pretty well known, which is they'll threaten to sue companies that support their scale without signing their agreement. So if the Acaia scale works well for you, super. If it doesn't, see if open source people will fix it for you. If you want a scale that works, then go with someone open. Scale is open, the Atomax scale. Our scale is open, the Buku scale is open. These are all companies that invite collaboration instead of frustrating it. So maybe not the answer you want, but sorry. Yes, so the questions you asked about the Acaia scale, will the half-decent scale fix it? The problem is an Acaia problem, that there's just communications issues with it. You can look on the forum and see if anyone has half-decent scale issues with filter 3. I haven't seen any. We're using it here. We use it all through Decon, so I don't know of any issues. I think I'm going to keep the allongé dialing in for next time, because I have run to 10 minutes more than I wanted to, and I want to keep these short so people can go back to their regularly scheduled life. So Mark, come back up. A big thank you for watching. Thank you, and we'll see you. So every other week we're alternating. So it's America time today, so 6 p.m. California. Next week we're going to be on European Middle East time. It's going to be 4 p.m. Hong Kong time, and I'll post what that means to the rest of the world. And of course, these live streams are available afterwards. So thanks for watching.
Thank you.